It's hard, I'm sorry.
Shanon Biles, Simone Biles' birth mom, recently opened up about the devastating challenges she's faced throughout the years. But despite the obstacles she's managed to overcome, both her and her children's lives are still being seriously affected to this day. So how exactly have Shanon's past struggles continued to have such a lasting impact on her and her family? The details surrounding where she stands with Simone and what she revealed about her hopes for the future are truly unbelievable, so let's break them down. Not long after Simone left the 2024 Olympics with 3 gold medals and 1 silver, her biological mother spoke to the Daily Mail about her famous daughter's achievements. But Shanon also revealed that their connection is more complicated than anyone realized, and the reason why is honestly heart-wrenching. Shanon expressed that she has always been extremely proud of Simone's accomplishment, but sadly, she hasn't been able to share that with her directly. Simone doesn't publicly talk about her family dynamic very much at all, but it's been more than 20 years since she and her 3 siblings were removed from their birth mom's custody. Shanon claimed that she's been holding on to hope that someday Simone will decide to reach out to her and they can have a heart-to-heart conversation. She added that she'd like to have the chance to ask her daughter for forgiveness and tell her how sorry she is for her past issues with substance use. Shanon's struggles with substance use were so extreme that she wasn't healthy or stable enough to take care of herself, let alone her 4 young kids. She ultimately abandoned her children, which resulted in them going into the foster care system. Simone was only a toddler at the time, and her younger sister, Adria, wasn't even a year old. But what happened next was absolutely unreal. Shanon's father, Ronald, and his wife, Nellie, filed paperwork to adopt their 2 youngest granddaughters. Meanwhile, Ronald's sister started the process to adopt Simone's 2 oldest siblings, Tevin and Ashley. Shanon explained that when her dad officially signed the adoption papers and moved Simone and Adria to Texas, where he and Nellie lived, her entire world was turned upside down. She claimed that he suddenly cut off all contact between her and her biological daughters and refused to let her be a part of their lives for several years. Shanon said that it felt like her father had flipped a switch out of nowhere because he wouldn't even allow her to have any sort of communication with the girls, not even phone calls. She added that she felt so betrayed by Ronald and she resented him for a very long time. For 6 years, Shanon didn't see or talk to Simone or Adria. She admitted that she felt so much bitterness and anger toward her father that she used to scream at him over the phone and repeatedly ask why he was keeping her away from her biological daughters. However, Shanon finally realized that her dad had only wanted what was best for Simone and Adria. Because she was still using substances at the time, he knew that she wouldn't have been able to have a healthy or consistent role in their lives. Ronald was simply trying to make sure that Adria and Simone didn't have any other painful or damaging experiences with their birth mom. Shanon said that she understands that his decision to cut off her communication with the girls had been made with their best interest in mind, but it was still one of the toughest challenges she's ever faced. Shanon knew that she had to work through her substance use issues and start her sobriety journey for herself and for her family. She claimed that now she's been completely sober for several years, but unfortunately losing custody of her children wasn't the only consequence of her past struggles with substance use. Not by a mile. According to the same article from the Daily Mail, Shanon has apparently racked up a ton of debt over the years. In October 2018, she filed a Chapter 7 bankruptcy petition. What the court documents revealed about her financial situation was seriously insane. It turns out that Shanon had stated in the filing that the only money she had to her name was on a prepaid card, which had a balance of $34. She had included the assets that she owned in the paperwork as well, but those didn't add up to much value either. Shanon had listed 2 vehicles, but neither of them were even drivable. The 2008 Toyota Scion was completely wrecked, and her 2003 GMC Sierra was also totally unusable. Even if she had managed to sell the scrap metal, the 2 vehicles combined were only worth around $2,100. At the time, Shanon stated that the value of her home, which she's lived in for over 20 years, was less than $10,000. She also claimed that all of her belongings inside of it, including her electronics, home appliances, and even her pets, were worth about $9,650 in total. To make matters even worse, the amount of money she owed was honestly crazy. Shanon's bankruptcy filing listed a student loan balance of nearly $4,000. She also owed more than $14,000 in unpaid medical bills and credit card debt. But aside from her money troubles and the fractured bonds with her children, there was another obstacle in her life that was absolutely unbelievable. Court records from Franklin County, Ohio, reported that Shanon has been hit with legal action a whopping 36 times. The document stated that her track record includes a variety of traffic citations, misdemeanors, misdemeanors, and other criminal cases. Believe it or not, she's even received some of her charges within the last few years. In 2020, Shanon was found guilty of physically hurting someone and received a 6-month prison sentence, which ended up being suspended. But even though she didn't have to sit behind bars, she was on probation for 2 years. Thankfully, she has stayed out of trouble since then, but that doesn't mean her life has totally turned around for the better. Shanon mentioned that she had been hired as a cashier at a grocery store, but she isn't currently working due to some unspecified medical issues. Despite all of the challenges she's faced, she claimed that she isn't anything like the person she was in the past. During her interview, Shanon stressed that she just wants the opportunity to explain everything to her daughter face to face so that they can hopefully make amends. But Simone's birth mom isn't her only biological family member that's hoping to get the chance to reconnect with her. Shanon explained that she still talks to Simone's birth father, Kevin Clemens, pretty frequently. She added that he would also like to work on building a relationship with his estranged daughter. In the past, Kevin reportedly battled substance use issues as well, and he hasn't had any contact with Simone for many years. But now he and Shanon are both holding on to hope that their biological daughter will ask to meet up and ultimately forgive them for abandoning her. However, when Shanon was asked by the interviewer if she had Simone's phone number so that she could call her directly, her response was truly bizarre.
I do, but I won't.
Understandably, the interviewer then questioned why Shanon didn't just call her daughter to find out if she was willing to talk, rather than keep waiting around for Simone to contact her.
I want her to reach out to me. She's 27 now, she's married.
She seemed to think that just because Simone is a grown adult, it's up to her to start the conversation. But she was also clearly struggling with how she felt about missing such a major milestone in her biological daughter's life.
I would like to have been a part of that, but I just have to wait for her.
But even if Simone was open to talking to her, it's possible that she feels like her birth mother should be the one to reach out first, especially considering Shanon was the one who created the situation in the first place when she abandoned and lost custody of her children. It does seem a little strange that Shanon seemingly didn't want to put too much pressure on Simone by calling her on the phone, but at the same time, she chose to go to the press and give a very public interview about really personal family matters. If Shannon's only purpose for doing the interview was because she actually wanted to build a relationship with her daughter, her approach still seemed questionable. At one point, she claimed that she and her father have been talking more often, and he tells her updates about Simone's life sometimes. So why didn't Shanon ask her dad to bring up to Simone that she wanted to have a conversation and give her time to make a decision in private? Not only that, but Simone rarely talks about the details of her family dynamic and almost never even mentions her biological mom. Anytime she's referred to her parents, she has clearly meant Ronald and Nellie, who cared for her and raised her from the time she was 6 years old. It's obvious that she doesn't want to call much attention to the details of the adoption, so why did Shanon think it was a good idea to drag all of this into the public eye? Not surprisingly, it seems as if Simone isn't exactly interested in having a heart-to-heart discussion with her birth mom. Not even 2 weeks after Shannon's interview with the Daily Mail was published, Simone shared a video on social media that some people think might have been a cryptic response. According to Atlanta Black Star, she shared a clip to her Instagram story that had just been filmed at Ronald's 75th birthday party in August. It showed him sweetly embracing Nellie as they danced together, and Simone's caption read, "47 years strong. My parents are so cute." It's completely valid for Shanon to want to build a relationship with her biological daughter, but she also needs to understand that Simone may not be open to that. And even though it's amazing that she's sober now, that doesn't erase the hurt that was caused by her past struggles with substance use. Many online commenters have pointed out that Shannon's timing also makes it hard to know if her motives are actually genuine. A lot of people believe she's being opportunistic since she gave the interview just days after Simone's impressive Olympics accomplishments. Some of them even speculated that Shanon may even be trying to take advantage of her daughter's success and is hoping that Simone will at least pity her and help her out financially. But even if that's not the case, it's still a little bit odd that Shanon is publicly pleading for her estranged daughter to contact her. If Simone had wanted to build a connection with her birth mom or have any kind of involvement in her life, she probably would have reached out by now. But the fact that she didn't invite Shanon to her wedding or any of her other life events and hasn't responded to her latest interview statements is extremely telling. Anyway, now that we've gotten into the heartbreaking details of Shannon's past and why some people are suspicious of her intentions, I want to know what your thoughts are. What do you think about her decision to speak to the press about wanting to ask her daughter for forgiveness just days after Simone's achievements at the Olympics? Do you think her intentions are genuine and she only wants to make amends with Simone? Or do you think she could have ulterior motives? Let me know in the comments below.